Welcome everyone to the Triangles Meditation Group. Today is January 11th, 2021. And the purpose of our weekly webinars is to introduce the work of triangles to people who are new to it and to aid them in the forming of triangles. And to create a platform for people who are already members of triangles to come together each week and participate in a meditative visualization in the support and strengthening of the planetary network. Triangles is a simple visualization technique using the power of thought and prayer to uplift and transform planetary consciousness. The work is simply undertaken by establishing a line of lighted, loving communication between three people who agree to vivify their triangular link every day. Three people linked together as a triangle of light, mentally, spiritually, and in a spirit of goodwill to all humanity. This triangle is then placed within the larger framework of the planetary network of triangles. And as the network is visualized, the great invocation is sounded in order to release and circulate spiritual energies throughout the etheric network into the consciousness of humanity, touching all open hearts and minds that can respond to spiritual stimulation when it's released into the atmosphere. Triangles need only take a few minutes each day and can therefore be fit into even the busiest of schedules. And after our meditation today, we'll be hearing from Freda Kemp in Toronto. She has been involved in Ageless Wisdom work for many years, and she has a unit of service in Toronto, and she works with the Seven Ray Institute and with a primary focus on raising money for hierarchical work. And so we really look forward to hearing her speak on that topic after the meditation. And also I wanted to announce that after our meeting today at 5 p.m., there will be a big group meditation on invoking the soul of the United States, starting at 5 p.m. We end our webinar at 4 p.m., as you know, and then 1 hour later, there will be this massive, we hope, coming together of people to invoke the soul of the United Nations. And so we're going to post that link. There it is. You can go through Zoom or through Facebook Live. So we hope that you can join that. And just to say that in this time of critical importance in our planetary life, the daily work of triangles provides each of us with the opportunity to tangibly help create a new and better world. But our work can only continue through your support. So please do consider making a donation to the work of triangles, which can be done through our website. So now let's come together with our visualization, beginning with a moment of silence to visualize the planet as a sphere of lighted energy. And visualize within that sphere a triangle composed of the three primary planetary centers: Shambhala, the planetary head; the spiritual hierarchy, the planetary heart; and humanity, the planetary throat. Visualize the circulation of energies flowing in all directions around the triangle, from point to point, merging and blending the 3 points. filling the triangle with light. Superimposed upon that triangle, visualize a 5-pointed star. This is the star of the world teacher, linking east and west, past and present, radiating the energy of love wisdom. At each point of the star, the sphere of his activity, stands an outpost of his consciousness, the 5 planetary centers. Visualize the energies radiating forth from the center of the star through the 5 points. London, Darjeeling, New York, Geneva, Tokyo. Visualize these outpouring energies enlivening small groups gathering everywhere, aiding them to focus and direct the energies into the consciousness of all humanity, solving its problems, creating right human relations, restoring peace on earth. Radiance, we are, and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. At this extremely fraught time within our planetary life, when a wave of fear and uncertainty is flooding through the currents of the lower planes. The work of triangles can stand as a beacon, as the detached observer, radiating love and goodwill to all and sundry. We can visualize that beacon as representative of the hierarchy itself and the world teacher at the center, pouring forth lighted energies through the network, bringing calm to the turbulent waters. As mentioned, after the meditation today, Frida will share some thoughts with us about money energy and what tools we can use to aid in its more applicable and equitable distribution. Money is said to be the crux of the problem in our planetary life at this time. And this applies most certainly to the spiritual work in which we are all engaged. For while it's relatively easy to fund the many wonderful nonprofit initiatives that are directly meeting the need of humanity and the planet, it's not always so easy to meet the need of the groups that are working to support such important initiatives as the reappearance of the world teacher, for which millions are needed. It's interesting to note that although we can be understandably somewhat hesitant to discuss the topic of the reappearance, it's actually said that this teaching on the coming one, is the number one idea that will draw forth the needed funding. For this idea is so magnetic and expressive of a fundamental truth that is recognized deep within the soul of humanity. Once it is awakened, inspires hope and a sense of expectancy, and gives an explanation as to what is going on the planet, that these are the birth pangs of this great event, not the ending of our world. And so this inspires people to give. And the work of triangles is perhaps one of the most inspiring ways in which to contribute to the preparatory work, as it is such a contemporary and simple practice that it stands at the heart. As many of you know, within the Bailey teachings, we've been given a brief meditation to be used each Sunday as a means of generating money for hierarchical purposes. This meditation was given out after the end of the war, and there was great hope at that time that the forces of materialism had been arrested. It may be that the realization of this inner achievement takes much time to work out upon the physical plane. Nonetheless, from all outer appearances, the concentration of wealth in the hands of the few has increased exponentially since that time, while the intention of this money meditation is exactly the opposite. It is to see that money flowing freely and liberating it from the concentrated state. In other words, the use of this meditation is needed now more than ever. When a situation becomes crystallized to such an extent as is the case with money today, surely we're approaching the time for a shattering of the current structures, releasing the light so that it can begin to more equitably meet the need of the many rather than remaining blocked within the hands of the few. We're asked each Sunday to use the money meditation to foster this work of circulating this concretized substance throughout the planet, helping it to become fluid, flowing. Sunday is a first ray day. That means it is a day that's aligned with the spiritual will. And we work to appropriate this will energy to help in breaking down the crystallized structures that are keeping this potent energy trapped. Today, Mondays, is ruled, we're told, by the seventh ray, the ray of ceremonial order and magic. And this is the day closely related to triangles, for it is a rhythmic seventh ray activity, working with subtle etheric energies to condition and recondition the structure of the planetary etheric network. The keynote or word of power for the seventh ray is the highest and the lowest meet. We can understand, therefore, the deep relationship between these two service activities of raising money for hierarchical work and triangles, which seeks to liberate crystallized conditions so that the released energy can flow throughout the world. So let's now work together with our meditation. Coming together in group fusion. Let's link in thought as a soul, as a point of love and light, with all those people throughout the world who are working with this Triangles meditation group. And now we project a line of lighted energy towards the center Shambhala, the center of the spiritual will, and sound together the mantra. In the center of the will of God, I stand. Naught shall deflect my will from His. I implement that will by love. I turn towards the field of service. I, the triangle divine, work out that will within the square and serve my fellow men. Using the creative imagination, link with two other points of light to create a triangle of light. Visualize the triangle in which you are working as an essential part of the radiant worldwide triangles network. Hold the consciousness immersed within the light of the group soul, the heart of love which underlies and infuses the network. Lift your consciousness to the world teacher who stands as the heart of love at the center of the spiritual hierarchy and also at the heart of each triangle. Now visualize the energies of love, light, and goodwill circulating in and around the triangle's network. Visualize these energies unifying and eliminating all divisions within humanity, healing and transforming human consciousness, and establishing right human relationships. Sound the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Visualize the whole planet alight with triangles. See new triangles being formed everywhere. Sound the great invocation silently or aloud. And as you repeat each stanza, visualize the network acting as a link between the world of spiritual realities and humanity, as a channel through which light and love and divine purpose may flow into human consciousness. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Oh. 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 Thank you so much, everyone. And now we can hear from you, Frida. Welcome.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you.
And I'd like to honor Kathy. I know she's worked on this, I'm not sure how many years now, Kathy, but I've just been delighted to see how this Triangles work has grown over the years and how many people now participate on a regular basis. Just delightful to see this blossoming of Triangles work. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a group work.
It is. Well, as Kathy mentioned, I'm going to talk today about funding the work of the new group of World Service. And thanks to everyone who's joining us today, to you as well, for this ongoing work of Triangles. It's vitally important, as Kathy has outlined. I'm going to talk about funding the work of the new group of world servers, which is in effect funding the plan, since this group is charged, along with men and women of goodwill throughout the world, with the work of implementing the plan. So Kathy mentioned the reflective meditation on attracting money for hierarchical purposes. You can find this meditation if you want to start using it. It's available in Discipleship in the New Age 2. And just have the reference here, page 228 to 231. So I invite everyone, if you inspired today, that give that meditation a try. But you'll find within that meditation that the Tibetan says that the new group of world servers needs money in large quantities. And I think, as Kathy mentioned, this was written just right after the Second World War. And I'd say that's every bit as true today as it was then. And part of this invocative prayer within the meditation, he asks us to state that may the needed vast, sorry, I'm messing this up. The needed vast sums may be made available. So how can we assist in this work, and how can Triangle's work help? Well, we could certainly begin by participating in this meditative work. More than just a meditation, though, this meditation, if you really study it carefully, is both a guide and a template for dealing with the material side of life, something that we might all struggle with. It's all about handling money for an aspirant or a disciple. The second thing we can do is to learn to handle money as a disciple of the Master should. One of the questions that the Tibetan puts to us in this meditation. Now, last week, if you were here, we had Jeffrey Swinehart was the guest, and he had reminded us that this New Year's period is often a time when we want to take stock of ourselves, our progress, our achievements along the path, our failures, things that we would like to improve on. And it's a time when we can set up a plan for the coming year. So let's consider how we can plan to give to the work of the hierarchy or the plan, just as much as we can plan and set our goals for the coming year. Ask yourself some questions. How much are we currently giving? Can we give more? Where are we spending money unconsciously or unwisely? Where is our desire nature driving our spending, and where can we make sacrifices for the sake of the plan? If you're like me, you may be working on an overview of your spending from last year, setting a budget for 2021. It's a really good place to start. And we can also start by planning our regular support for those groups that claim our allegiance, or those that are providing you with spiritual sustenance, groups like Lucius Trust and the Triangle's work. I would say fund these first, and then broaden your field of giving to include those groups that are working out the plan in the larger world. Our own discerning nature should help us to identify these groups and how they're contributing to the plan. Now that you've made a donation and done the meditation, remember to energize it. The Tibetan invites us to do this meditation on Sundays, which Kathy just outlined for us, this first ray day, and then to take what we have saved during the week and dedicate it to the work and present it in meditation to Christ and his hierarchy. He goes on to say that whether the funds are large or small, they can become a tractive unit in the Master's plans. So think of laying your gift on the altar, blessing it with love, and knowing that it will not only be well used, but attract other funds to further the work. And remember to express love to all you contact, as the Tibetan tells us. This is the great, attractive, and selfless agent in world affairs. So how can Triangle's workers help? The Tibetans suggest that used by many simultaneously, this meditation has the power to shatter the impasse, which at present prevents adequate funds pouring into the work that the hierarchy wishes to accomplish. I believe that this daily and weekly rhythmic work to construct the Triangle Etheric Network provides the needed connectivity to bring the need and the funds together, and therefore allowing money to flow upon these newly formed pathways of love, light, and goodwill. So this is tremendous service work that we're undertaking here. If we accept that money is I say here, just a form, maybe just a form, it's a form of concretized energy, then recognizing money as largely etheric substance, we can then offer it up to Christ in his hierarchy, knowing that this solarized component of the world's financial resources will be directed where it's needed. Now, I like to visualize when I do this meditation, as the Tibetan suggests, this flowing golden stream of energy flowing out of the control of the forces of materialism and into the control of the forces of light. So I see this stream passing through the heart of hierarchy and the Christ, and then flowing outward into the world, sort of intelligent clearinghouse for all this solarized funds available to do the work and implement the plan. Triangle's workers are, in fact, esoteric healers within the body of humanity, as we are both helping to break up blockages in this divine circulatory flow and provide the connections allowing money to go where it's needed. Just as we are each nodes within the Triangle's network, we can also be nodes supporting the divine flow that we call right sharing. By loving all we meet, to blessing all the money that flows through us that we spend and receive, those love-charged divine funds will infect other funds in the network. And charged with the energy of love, these funds will naturally flow towards need and away from the well-worn pathways of selfishness and greed. So this is the service work that we're undertaking. A group of us have formed a unit of service. We're very much an ad hoc group. We meet every Sunday, and we do a modified version of this meditation. And this meditation is focused on redirecting money to the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals and to the plan. Now, for those of you who have studied or participated in work around the Sustainable Development Goals, you know that these goals are established by the United Nations and by humanity as a whole. They're set for completion in 2030, and they really represent humanity's best efforts to do what Jeffrey had recommended to us last week, not only as individuals to set a plan, but for us as a collective body to set ourselves goals and to work together cooperatively to achieve these goals. Now, one of the key missing factors or elements has been the money in large quantities. And so this is what we seek to accomplish by doing this weekly modified meditation. So I see my good friend Martha Gallahue is here, and she usually sends out the invitation. We'll ask Martha to put her email into the chat if she would. And if you were interested in joining us, you're very welcome. And you can, Martha only asks that you please put SDG meditation in the subject line. So I'll ask Martha to do that in the chat. But I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the triangle features of this meditation. We tend to work with two interlaced triangles in our work. So we work with the zodiacal triangle of the signs Taurus, Libra, and Capricorn. These signs are related to money in different aspects. And the three major centers that Kathy has outlined for us in the meditation, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. And as Kathy said, we have the head center, the heart center, and the throat center. We see these two triangles interlaced, forming a six-pointed star. And we see then the influence of these signs and centers synthesized by the planet Venus, which sits in the center. Now, Venus stands to our earth as the soul stands to the personality, or as hierarchy stands to humanity. Here she is our elder sister, influencing and guiding us to respond to our higher nature. Ultimately, we hope to transform not only our own relationship with money, but humanity's as a whole, transforming it into this great and possible spiritual asset that the Tibetan refers to it as, instead of a tool to satisfy our individual and collective desires. So that's the nature of my talk today, but I'm certainly open to any questions or discussion. And I will also say that I will add the text of my talk into the chat box, so it's available to anyone. But I'm going to open it, or Kathy can maybe open it up now to questions and discussion.
Yeah, so if you'd like to share a question or a thought with Frida, you can place it in the chat box, or you can click on your name in the participants box and we'll unmute your microphone. And while we're waiting for some responses, I just wondered, in your view, what's the best way to contribute financially to the work of hierarchy?
Well, I think rhythmic giving is key. And the reason that rhythmic giving is key is because you're impulsing on a regular basis. I mean, of course, it's of value to the recipient because now they can rely on your giving. But from your perspective, this constant rhythmic giving, typically, of course, the Tibetan asks us to give weekly. That's not always practical if you wanted to set up, say, a regular donation through PayPal or through some other platform. But the idea that we're giving with that rhythm is key. So what is your rhythm? I think you can decide your rhythm. I think monthly is a great way to go because you are timing your giving, hopefully with the full moon and around the monthly zodiacal cycles. But an aspect of this meditation that I didn't highlight in my talk, the Tibetan says, to those who give will be given so that they can give again. So there you go.
Yeah, thank you. There are quite a few comments. Can you see the chat box?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So blessing. So I'm a proponent that, we're like a transformer. Think of ourselves so that on every month, here's the statement. What do you mean by blessing the money we send out into the world? Can you explain a little more? So I think we're transformers, that as we receive funds into our lives through our pay, or, we might be selling a product and people are purchasing it from us, selling a service. We could be a consultant who's charging money. However, we earn our funds are coming into us. We need to be a bit like the Christ, as I described it. We're going to transform that money from gray into gold, and we're going to send it out into the world. We're going to pay our bills. We're going to pay our taxes. This is how we bless the funds as they go forth. Now we're sending out this, what I call solarized money, money that's been transformed through our blessing. And as we give it to the grocery store and to the hardware store and to the gas pump and wherever we're spending our money, we're sending it out blessed. And as we bless that money, it can bless all the funds it's touching, all those bank accounts and all those places. And we can kind of, in my view, infect the planetary money supply so that it becomes solarized and it becomes available to the Christ and to the new group of world servers for their work.
That's a beautiful recommendation.
So someone asked me about joining. There's the email from Martha, specific time. Yes, we do it at noon at Eastern Daylight Time, which I think is 5 p.m. GMT. Other people said about the page. Yes, and that's a good suggestion. These money meditation is part of a bookend. Those two meditations, the Thursday meditation on the reappearance of the Christ and the reflective meditation, those two meditations work together, and they work very closely together, because in one, you're dedicating yourself to the work of the Christ and to his reappearance, and the other, you're dedicating your funds. So you're dedicating your life efforts and your financial service to the work, and you're doing it through those two bookended meditations. You want to say anything about that, Kathy?
Yeah, it's not really directly about that, but I always wondered, in those two meditations, they don't include the final line of the Great Invocation, let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And so in my mind, I link that line with a mantra that we can use often, perhaps visualizing the planetary network, just not specifically with all your triangles members, if you have many, but just visualizing the network and the earth surrounded by this triangular network, and just sound that mantra of it. So it can be something that can be used anytime. And I think that's a good way to complete those two meditations with a third point.
It's true, because they really, they're so rich. Like you could study them for a lifetime and really not extract all of the teaching that is contained in those two meditations. But you can see the first three parts of the Great Invocation, and then the final part, which is the part where humanity is working out the plan, are contained in those two meditations. So yeah. Okay, so we have Santana says, thank you so much for the deeper insights into money and the meditation. Thank you. Gabriella says, thank you for the lovely meditation information. And then Christina, she'd love to add this to this direction, the powerful words of the noonday reflection. I know, O Lord of life and love, about the need. Touch my hearts anew with love, so that I too may love and give. Exactly. And so what are you giving? You're giving love, of course, but I think there's an implied giving here as well, that you're also giving of your resources in whatever way you can. So thank you.
Oh, there's a hand up.
Okay, great.
Ellie. Let's see. Hello, Ellie. Hello, Ellie.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Hi. I just a couple of quick comments. So first of all, I truly believe the hoarding of money and resources is a pathology that will become recognized in the future. You're somewhat familiar with my own situation, and a lot of things have shifted in the last couple of years. One of the things I personally have done for years is write thank you. When I used to have to pay, we used to pay everything by check. So rather than resenting paying the electric bill or whatever service you're paying, thank you. It shifts the energy. So that's one thing. Another thing I started doing a few years back is save every receipt, and not for practical purposes, but so in a month or two, I look back and I have this pile of paper that's from goods and or services that I've been fortunate enough to receive. And again, it shifts the mindset. And there's an old meme that circulated that, again, given the crisis we're in now, and with so many people having difficulty and threat of eviction and so forth, we all have to really count our blessings. The old meme had went along the lines of, if you have a roof over your head, if you have clean running water, if you have electricity, if you have money in your savings account, and it actually said you were one of what percentage of humanity. It was quite moving, actually, when you actually looked at it, because there's so many humans on this planet that don't have these things. So that meditation is really beautiful. The Sunday meditation.
And it really is.
Anyway, those are my comments. Thank you so much for this talk. It's very timely.
That was great. I do actually the same. I've always done the same. I always write, in the little line on the check, thank you. And, that little bit of gratitude when we pay our bills is important. I always tell people too, is sometimes we get mad at the tax man. I want to have to pay my taxes. Or we're mad at the horrible gas company that's gouging us, right?
Right.
Why try and turn that around. Say, don't be, instead of being mad at them, bless them. Okay,
Yeah.
bless them,
And
because you can transform who they are through how you're solarizing the funds that you're passing through those organizations.
I like that phrase, solarize. It's a good
Yeah.
concept. Yeah, it's just shifting the energy. So if you shift it within yourself, you know, you change how you see things. Things change, as the saying.
Right.
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 All right. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sally.
So we have another comment from Suzanne. She says, when I visualize the golden substance passing out of the control of the forces of materialism into the control of the forces of light, I use the visualization of the earth covered in triangles and the golden substance sparking around the triangles. So that's lovely.
There's a couple of people had commented on one question that wasn't responded to, and so it says, how do we marry making a living and being of service?
Well, you know, this is always an interesting discussion. But every job that you have, no matter how lowly, is a form of service. And so if we shift our attention to say, I'm choosing to be of service in the world by doing this particular job, it doesn't become this onerous thing called making a living. It becomes this joyful act of how we are out in our community, being of help and being of service. And if you don't feel that the organization you're working for is terribly enlightened, this is where you can transform it by bringing in your love, your light, your goodwill, right? And help, and even your funds, because you're being paid by that organization. So your blessing and your gratitude as you're being paid can help to transform that organization that you're working for.
There's another hand raised. I think it's probably a question from Facebook Live.
Actually, this time it's not a question from Facebook, but I saw a question in the chat that interested me, so I wanted an answer as well. It's from, sorry about the mispronunciation, Fundación Psychoactiva. Is there a chance for you to explain further about Libra, Capricorn, and Taurus, if possible?
Sure, I mentioned to Kathy, I'm not the world's greatest astrologer, but if you look at the qualities that we're working with in those signs, first of all, in Taurus, sometimes Taurus has a quality of covetousness and wanting be surrounded by the beautiful things of the world, but also holding them to themselves. So we might translate that a bit into greediness. So here is where Taurus needs to kind of release and allow the higher aspects of Taurus to come through. In Libra, we're invited to work on transforming the various aspects of ourself, and that includes our relationship with money. This is Libra, we're talking about right relations and right sharing. So that's where Libra comes in. And in Capricorn, we have the crystallized component of money and the forms that kind of have captured and held money. And in Capricorn, it needs to be, in a way, shatter. This is where shattering of that impasse comes out. So in those three signs, we need to take on their higher qualities in relation with money and not their lower qualities. But as I'm a terrible astrologer, I will let Kathy also comment. She's a much better astrologer on those three signs.
Well, the thing that I'm not sure if that's a triangle that's stated in esoteric astrology as particularly related to money. I don't remember if it is, but I do know that those three signs are related because they're all they all have the planet Venus, which you place in the center of that triangle as one of their ruling planets. But so I think that's the link between the three. But it's curious that they're not including Gemini, where Venus rules esoterically, and it's perhaps the most important one at this time, that esoteric ruler, because it helps. I just read this morning that it helps bring Christed energy to bear on Earth through Gemini. So
Oh,
sort of
lovely.
an interesting one. So we might want to add Gemini to somehow
Okay.
to that visualization.
Well, the one thing I do remember from triangles is about placing Libra at the top of the triangles. So that I do remember.
And Libra is, as a sign itself, it's very much connected with money, the Tibetan says. It is connected with the third aspect and related therefore to law, sex, and money. So yeah, I think it's related to the third ray. So third ray has a lot
Correct.
to do with the material world.
Yeah. So I think we're almost out of time. I don't know if you wanted to do a closing and
Link up.
Kathy,
Yeah.
and but I want to thank everybody for attending today and for your attention. And I can put my email here in the chat as well. And if you have any more questions, please.
Yes, and we did post your transcript, or you posted your transcript.
Yes, I did post it. So there's my email. So I'm certainly willing to respond to any other questions that people may have.
And we also posted the money meditation for anyone who wants to download that and use it each week. So thank you so much, Frida. It was really fascinating, living talk from your own life experience. So it's so wonderful to hear. And so let's now link. And just to remind everyone, there is this vast group meditation at 5, if you want to join in with that. So thank you again, and let's just link with the forces of light to stimulate the Triangles Network. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, everyone.